This is how I set my kettle grill up for pork shoulder for pulled pork. The pork's 8 pounds, so it's going to take 10 to 12 hours to cook. So I'm starting to cook off with 100 unlit coal. That's my fuel supply. And I'm starting to cook off for the heat with 5 hot coals. I only have 5 hot coals because I only need a temperature of about 250, maximum 275. If I started off with only 5 hot coals at the beginning of the cook, I'll be able to keep that temperature low throughout the cook. And the reason they're sitting on the right side of the grill is I want it to burn its way across slowly throughout the cook. If I have to add more coal towards the end of the cook, then while there's still enough hot coals over here, I'll butt fresh unlit coal up against to continue to cook. So I'll throw the lid on and I'll show you how I set my vent settings. This is how I set my vents to keep the temperature down. Top, I just crack, it's maybe 1/8. The bottom vent, I set to 1/8 also. That first tick mark that represents a quarter, half, 3/4, and the far right is wide open. Anywhere between 3/4 and far right's wide open. So top and bottom vents are cracked about 1/8. Once this thing hits about 200, then I'll clean the grates and throw the pork on. Pork shoulders on. You can see how that brown sugar's already started to melt into the pork. Should have let it sit a little longer, but got a little bit of a late start this morning. Got my drip pan in there. I threw a couple pieces of applewood on there for the smoke. So I get the lid on this thing. Okay, see you in 2 hours at the first mop. Okay, we're 2 hours into the cook. Time for the first mop. And we're setting right at 250 degrees dead on. So it really pays off to start your cook off with just the amount of hot coal you need to get the maximum temperature that you want. Let's take a look at the pork. I'll give it its first mop. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you can see how the coal's starting to work its way around. Okay. This is all I do. I'm doing this one-handed here, so I'm going to try not to make a mess. You just kind of lightly dab this. That's why you want to use a mop. If you use a brush, you end up smearing your rub. And I have brown sugar on this, you end up wiping that off. So with a mop, you just dab. It helps keep it nice and moist. Okay, I don't think I'll flip it. I'll probably flip it next time around. So, see you in another 2 hours. Time for the next mop. We're at the 4 hour and 15 minute mark. The temperature is still sitting all but 250. It's just a little above, maybe 255, 260. So temperatures staying right where I want it, and I made no adjustments to the vents. Let's take a look at this board. Oh boy, oh that's looking nice. Okay, see how charcoal's doing, working its way around. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this thing this way, and then I'm going to give another mop. So I'll do that and throw the lid on, and then I'll see you in another 2 hours at the third mopping. wood. I'll have to throw some more wood in there. I did put a piece in the last time. I'll probably put one more piece in, and that might be it. You don't want to go more than about 4 hours worth of smoke on these things. You don't want them to get over smoked and they get bitter. Okay, so I'll flip it, mop it, and I'll see you in another 2 hours. Time for the fourth mop. We're at the 8-hour and 40-minute mark. Temperature's sitting right at 250, right where I want it. I made 2 adjustments along the way. After the last check-in, when I mopped, after I put the lid on, it dropped down to just about 200 degrees, so I cracked the top a little bit, opened it up a little bit, and it didn't do much. I cracked it open a little more, still didn't do much. So I run the ash sweep real slowly. Well, first I close the top vent, so it wouldn't stir the ash up, and then I run the sweep back and forth a couple times real slowly. And then just kept the vent at, right now it's just about a third, and temperature slowly climbed back up to 250, so I got the temp that I want, and it stayed there pretty much for about the last hour. So let's take a look at this pork, see how we're doing. Oh yeah. Okay, I don't know, the sun is getting low. So let's see how we're doing for the coal situation here. Let me grab my little tool. In there. Well, I might have maybe an hour's left in there, I'm not sure. So we're only at, like I said, the hour and 41-minute mark. I'm probably going to need more fuel in there, so I think what I'm going to do is pull this thing off and add more fuel. And I'll show you how I do that. So I'll be back shortly. Instead of adding more fuel, pulling this off and adding more fuel, I decided to check the temperature first. I didn't think I'd be as close as I am. 189.7, I'm all at 190. And I want 195 to 200. So I think what I'm going to do is just, instead of pulling everything off, I'm just going to rake those coals into a pile. I'm probably going to need about maybe another hour or so of heat out of this. So I think I'll be able to get that with the coal I have in there. So I'm not going to pull everything off and put more coal in, a whole bunch more coal. So all right, I'll do that and I'll show you that. Right there's the temp. Okay, instead of pulling the grate off and add more coal, I just raked all the coal together. This is hot over here. Ouch. There's plenty of coal left in there, plenty of unburnt coal or partially burnt coal, and this coal's pretty solid. So I have at least another good hour's worth of 250-degree heat in there. So I'm just going to throw the lid back on. I'll go to mop it first, throw the lid back on, and then I'm going to check it in an hour and see what temperature we have. Right there, I said 190. Okay, see you in an hour. Okay, it's been a good hour and 15 minutes or hour and 20 minutes, something like that, since the last check-in, when we checked the temperature on the pork, and that was 190. So I gave it a good hour to see if we can't bump that up to 195 to 200 where I want it. The kettle's sitting at just about 260. So once I put the lid back on after I raked the coals together, I adjusted the top vent back down to 1/8, and the bottom I never touched all the way through the cook. That's still sitting about 1/8. So we still have all of it 250, just where I wanted to be the whole way through the cook. Let's see how the pork's doing. Oh, look, that bone just falling out of there. Oh, I believe that's done. All right, check the temp on it. Boy, that pushed right through there, nice and easy. Oh, beautiful. There's 195. That's the magic number. Okay, pork is done. See how much charcoal is left? Not a whole lot, but that was enough. That lasted 10 hours and 18 minutes. So did the entire cook without having to add coal. Okay, so I'll pull this thing off and then pull it, and we'll see how nice and tender it is. I imagine it's going to be nice and tender. That bone's going to pull right out of there. See you in a bit. All right, now let's see how nice and tender this thing is.
First, let's see. This is the test. How well does this bone pull out of this thing? Oh man, look at that. Oh, boy, is that a good sign. Okay. Let's see how well. Look at the bark on this thing. Oh, let's see how it pulls. Look at that. That's what we want. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull this whole thing apart. The sun's going down, but you can see how it's coming apart. She's nice and tender. You can see the moisture in there. She's nice and moist. So it come out great. I gotta just try a piece of this bark. All that brown sugar and stuff on it. Be right back. Boy, is that good. It's not hard and crispy because the brown sugar and the mop keeps it from getting dried out and hard. Oh man, it's really good. I can taste the rub on there. Okay. You come out nice. Look at the way it pulls. That's what you want. Alright. And that's the end of the cooking part of the video. And that's a wrap. Camera wife, thank you.